Yeah, and you're exactly right. I'm a big fan of value-driven businesses. So we want to drive value. When they see you professional, it got the professional truck. That for me, and what do I'll give them a book. I don't give them a business card. I give them a book I've written. I give them pictures of our work and stuff like that in a nice coffee table edition. I'll give them that. Who else is doing that? Are you tired of working more for less profits in your home service business? What if I could show you $100,000 in hidden annual profits in your business in less than 3 minutes? Would you be interested? And not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend guaranteed. Just go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com to see how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Do it now. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Swire Ho in the virtual house. Okay, and we're going to have a great conversation today, but without any further ado, let's just get into the details. Let's get into the backstory. Swire, no one knows Swire better than Swire. So give us some backstory. Tell us how you got to where you're at today, and we will get into the conversation.
Thank you, Richard, for having me on the show. My name is Swire Ho. The name of my company is Garuda Promo. We're in the promotional product industry, and I call myself the promo guy. If you're in the industry, no one go to school or study to become in the promotional product industry. Every one of us actually stumble on somehow into the industry. I used to have a business do CD and DVD replication. So I help a lot of musicians, record label, film company to do this right back in the old days. And when they want to go on tour, they ask me, do you do t-shirts, hats? Or do you do like gift bag for red carpet? So I somehow dabble into that business, and then now it becomes my full-time profession.
Oh, that's awesome. It's always, you know what's great about business, Swire? It's just one thing. If you're paying attention, one thing's going to lead into the next thing. You know, if you're open to, as long as you're doing it right, don't go completely off the rails. You know, you can do really well. I love that you evolved into this, into the whole, promotions aspect, because what we're going to talk about today really is, it's really serving our clients. That's what it's really about. When you think about it, whether it's gifting, we were talking before we get on the air, I said, I'm the world's worst gifter. Just ask my wife. Okay, just ask my wife. She'll tell you how bad I am. But I always had to hire someone or have someone on the team, like get gifts for people, because I know the importance of it. I'm just no good at it. Mm-hmm. And I guess that means I don't try to be good at it, if I have to be fully transparent. Okay, because it doesn't really interest me. I want it to be there. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about kind of how that applies in the customer experience and stuff like that.
I wanted to set the table straight, and especially I'm in an industry, and I would say on the record that you don't need promotional product to be successful, but promotional product is another touch point and tool in your overall marketing platform, right? You need a website, you need an email, you need a good communication, and then adding to that, promotional product can enhance your brand awareness, build customer retention, and then if you do it right, you can actually use that as a incentive, right, to get more referral or to get people write you a testimonial after you finish your product and services with them.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of my main things in my construction business was really people spend, a good amount of money, $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, and then you get done and they hand you that final check, right? Because the job's finished, everything's good. I always had this thing, I want to be the last giver. Okay, they just gave me that check. I know I gave them I built their whatever, but I'm like, no, I need to give them something. I guess I'm kind of keeping score. I want to give them the last gift. So that could be the day later, a week later, whatever that might be. So do you run into that much?
I think it also answers your first question, getting a gift for your wife. So I'm, trying to dabble into that as well. So for gift, it's not about what you want to buy, Richard. It's what the other people want to receive. For example, your customer, who are they? What kind of work you did for them? Obviously you have interaction with them. You probably talk to them a few times. What kind of person do they are? What are their hobbies? So for example, if they like football, for example, can you buy something that related to football? Or if they like homemaking, they like to make beautiful homes inside their living space, can you find something that related to that industry? Or they always do going outdoor camping. Find them something that related to what they like to receive, and then the chances of success or they calling you right after they receive the gift will be a lot higher.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a really good point. Like, I don't think I went into it that deep thinking about it. I just threw my hands up and said someone else do this. But I think what you're saying really is you need to know your customer.
Yeah,
okay?
You have to.
And that's part of relationship building anyways, right? So if you're really doing a good job, if you're really giving them a good customer experience, you should know some details about you. And I'll share this, my sister-in-law is probably the best gift giver I've ever seen in my life. That woman can give you exactly what you want without asking you to do anything. Just knows exactly the right book to give you, the right gift. I'm like, she's just great at it. Some people are like that, but I'm her brother-in-law. She kind of knows me. But still, she's so accurate with whatever it is. I don't see her for 2 years, and then she shows up with this perfect gift. It's really cool. I know the power of gifting. Right? Doing that right thing. It's just really dialing it in so it's targeted. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Well, if you're in sales like I do, we have our CRM, right? So we put in the email that we talk about, maybe the pricing that we talk about, maybe their requirements or things like that. Why don't you also put in what they like to do, how they like to communicate, or where they like to hang out on the free time. So that's something that you could actually access with social media, you're taking as a salesperson. So that already can be your CRM. And if if they share with you their birthday, so then when their birthdays are. And then we all know where all the major holiday happens the same time every year. So that if you plan for like a holiday gift, like a summer gift, like a Memorial Day gift, exactly when that's going to be. So that helps you with the planning. So that actually take care of what should I buy in the new year? What should I buy if they celebrate their cultural holidays? And you can actually plan for it, and they happen exactly the same time. And then want to share one example is what kind of group, if let's say, for example, if you create ponds for people's backyard, right? You do beautiful colors, you do the rocks, and you do all the landscaping. Chances are that person who hired you to do the pond are connected to the community, right? They're also often as buddy friends who are into the same hobby as well. If you give the person, your client, a nice gift, the next time they see their buddy, I'm so proud of my pond I just finished. I'm going to invite all my friends, all my buddy to see it. And then let's say you give them a t-shirt or a hat, with your company's logo on it. Guess who they're going to talk about when their buddy asks, oh, who actually do your pond? It looks so nice. So that's a subtle way to bring in more word of mouth and referral.
Yeah, it really is. It's important because I think a lot of people, because I work with a lot of businesses, and too many times, and again, not their fault, they're kind of hustling, right? Trying to get the next client, trying to move on, but they forget about their existing clients. And there's that saying that if someone spends money with you once, unless you do a terrible job, they'll spend money with you again. And they're not actually just reaching out or staying in front of mind of their clients. And just from what you said about the holidays being on the same time as everything else, this is how you stay front of mind. You can load up 7, 8, 9 holidays for the year. Mm-hmm. Okay, every 6 weeks, they could be getting a card, even if it's just a card. They can be getting something throughout the year. That is, I don't get a birthday card enough from my family once a year. Okay, let alone you get someone who's giving you something in the mail or whatever that is every 5, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, and they hear something about if I'm a roofer or I'm a pond builder, they hear that, they're going to go out of their way to say, hey, man, you need my guy.
Especially if you are seasonal, your business is seasonal. Maybe you are tree trimming services. Maybe you are HVAC. Right? So that when the weather changes, you might have a different service going on. Like I know, people want to do that, but are you the top of mind? People forget, right? If I need something, I want someone right away. Is your company the first that they could think of? Chances are, that something needs to be worked on every time.
Right, because you could have got your furnace or your AC or whatever done like 3, 4 years ago. right? And then you never hear from them again. And then 4 years later, you got a problem. Oh, I better call someone.
Yeah.
Not the guy who put it in. You'll just grab the first truck you saw with the name on it. I'll call that guy. They come over to give you a deal. You go, oh, I forgot about Richard. Oh, he does this. Oh, yeah, the guy who put it in. Now you lost the sale because you didn't stay in contact.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to do that. Especially, home services, trade industry, they live on testimonial. Sometimes in the world that we're in AI right now, people coming up with fake testimonial. But what if you could incentivize your happy customer to be maybe on camera just for 30 seconds to talk about, what they have done, how you were able to help them? I think that will probably help a lot of businesses out there to get more testimonial, more happy customer. Because think about it. If you're unhappy about a business, you tell everybody. Right? I am like that, sorry. But if you're happy with a business and no one asks you to share, you're not going to share with anyone. It's crazy like that. So why don't you encourage people to at least share to 3 to 5 of their friends or family or neighbors, right? Think about how it will impact the bottom line.
Yeah, it can be a big number. I mean, I encourage them to do that. And I think there's nothing I tell people about testimonials too, Swire, is when people are looking for a service, okay, you offer a service, whatever the service is, I don't care, and they're looking at testimonials, this is a simple little trick too. If you can, video's awesome, the best, okay? If you get a written testimonial, you need to get a headshot of your customer, a picture that goes with it, because you know what people are looking for? Yeah, they're looking for good reviews. They're looking for themselves. You want someone old with a gray hair. You want someone young. You want someone thin. You want someone fat. You're right. You need because I'm looking for me. I need the bald guy. I need the big bald guy for me, right?
Yeah.
Like if he likes it, if he likes it, how can I not like it? He looks just like me, So it's really important, like you're saying. And if promotional products, gifting is a part of that process, like what I would do is, like you say, get a 30-second video, a 1-minute video of them doing something, and then unexpectedly hand them a gift.
Yeah.
As a thank you. Don't say I'll give you a gift if you do it. Okay, because then you just bought a testimonial. Okay, you're not doing that. And then they'll get even more nervous. But if you actually give it to them, we call it unexpected and meaningful gifts. So I owned a gym, did boot camp style training. And a big thing I would do, guys are great. They're coming 5 days a week. They're working out. Every now and then, just a Starbucks gift card. I do that. Here's $10. Here's $20, man. You've been killing it. Go get a coffee or whatever, right? They love that because it's totally unexpected, but it means something, right? I would do things like that often, even middle of the jobs. I'd come in and give them something. That was my deal. Even if it's, hey, man, here's some coffee. Or I bring coffee. If I know we're working on a job for a bunch of days and the homeowner or the wife who's ever there, in the morning we roll up at 7 o'clock, I bring them coffee. Like, here, I got these for you. Like, oh, thank you. All right, we're going to get to work. Enjoy it. And we go. It's like I always tried those because in construction of any type, there's going to be elevated anxiety. Okay, with people, because you're tearing stuff up, you're making a mess, whatever's going on. So you try to kind of, mediate that, if you will, with the gifts and stuff.
Yeah, and another point to do a lot of service industry, and you mentioned gym, is people want to win something. We all want to show off in our own way, right? So for example, let's say at the gym, you have like a 30 days challenge. So if you work out every single day for 30 days, and then you got to win this t-shirt with nice printing design on it. So what happened afterwards? If I finish the 30-day challenge and get my t-shirt, I'll go and show off, right? I did it. Look how well I am feeling right now. So that's actually, you are creating a walking billboard. Right, their mini ambassador become. When people ask them, what did you do to get the T-shirt, and they talk about you all the time, and then again, that's how you can bring people back for word of mouth and then your referrals.
Yeah, for sure. We did I called it the 10K burpee club. So you know what a burpee is, right? You got to drop down, push up, jump. You had to do 100 burpees a day for 100 days straight.
Wow.
Couldn't miss a day. Okay. Then you got a plaque. I made these really cool plaques, with the gym name and their name and all that stuff. So out of the whole gym, we had like 5 people who made it. I was one of them. because I participated, but they got that plaque and they can hold that on social media and use that. Like, that's a big accomplishment. That's 10,000 burpees. Most people won't do 10 burpees. Okay. So it's like, it was a really good, but again, I'm trying to think of it now. Now, if I think about that in retrospect with what we're talking about, I go, it was cool, but it wasn't very good from a promotional standpoint because I have 100 members and 4 made it. So there's not a lot of people promoting now. So, but if I had something of like a lower caliber where they could then get the shirt, win stuff more often for doing lesser things instead of the thing that kills most people, I think it'd be more effective as a promo.
Yeah, you bring on a good point because a lot of time people love to do digital marketing, right? It's effective. If you do it right, you could get in a lot of business. So a lot of times people debate the effectiveness of promotional product. And my point of view is I'm not trying to fight or see who is better. What you just described can be combined as a digital and promotional product campaign. So you have intangible, you have tangible marketing. So during the entire 100 days, you can actually do videos to post on your social media. So when those 5 people actually won the plaque, they could be on a social media post. So you could actually connect online and offline together. And to answer your point, you could do multiple different programs. Some people are more hardcore, some people are more casual, but we all wanted to participate and we all love to win.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to say, I mean this, and I'm just being snarky. Now you tell me, Swire. Now you tell me I should do that during the whole thing because I didn't. I made them suffer for 100 days.
Well, that would be a good video for certain people too, because
it would.
It all caters to different people. Maybe there are tough guys out there wanted to join in the fun.
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm always a day late when it comes down to good marketing. So I don't really give a lot of marketing advice. I kind of know what it is, but I'm never your go-to for that. But I love that idea, and anything with a time range on it. Like it's really that it's 2 weeks, 7 days, it's a month. That 100 burpees a day could have been a 30, 60, 90 day or 30, 60, 100 day, right? So someone could have done it for 30 days and they win this level. Someone could have done it for 60 days and win that level. And then the guys who go all out make the 100 days and make the 10K, they get the big plaque. Mm-hmm. Everyone else just got a shirt. I could have done that, but I don't think that way because I only want to show appreciation when people go all the way. That was my mindset.
Well, on the other hand, people don't think about we need our customer to stay in business, right? That's a given. But also promotional product, and if you do it the right way, can actually bring up employees' morale. So going back to the trade industry for a little bit, guys, always drive the truck. It's all branded. Some of them have polo shirt. Some of them even wear a company shirt, right? They're dressed nice, professional to give estimates, right? That's what they do. But there are also guys who look like they wear the same T-shirts for 5 days, and they kind of, you can tell they've been off a job. So as a homeowner and as someone who interact with these people, what would they expect? And as employees of the company itself, you see what other companies people are wearing. How would you feel if you are wearing nicer things or if you dress more professional? You stand up higher. You present it better. So an example is there are a lot of ongoing learning for the job in the trade industry, even for the fitness industry. What if, they finish a certain milestone or they learn a certain skill, they wear a different jacket, they wear a different polo color. So people really like that, and you actually bring out the employees' morale, because if I learn that, I know that the company is going to reward me, and it means little, right, to buy that nicer polo, but for them, when they wear it, they get more confidence. So when they walk in, they just present so much better.
Yeah, it's rank. It becomes a rank thing, like I'm a Marine. When you're a private, you're a PFC, you're a Lance Corporal, then you go NCO. Now you're a corporal, you get another stripe, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're a sergeant, now you're a staff, now you're a gunny. And you work your way up. It's the same principle. Like you said, and I like that, as they get their certifications, they increase their skill levels. There should be, and it's one of the top 3 things people want at the job. Number 2 is recognition. They want recognition, and those gifts, things like that is a huge thing of recognition because they can wear it every day. They can have a different kind of shirt. They could have a different color shirt, mm-hmm. right? That means something on the site, because I was very big with my first water feature business, always in the uniform, always in the blue shirt, the blue hat, the jeans, like there's no exceptions to that. If you didn't have that on, you weren't on the job site. Because that's how we roll. All our trucks were wrapped, like you were saying, everything. So people knew who we were, the rolling billboards and things like that.
That's
Really
part
important.
of branding too, and people do judge. Let's say I get 3 estimates, right? So I do judge how they present themselves, how well they're assumed that they are equipments, or how people do that. Like homeowner does that a lot. So like, how would you do that subtly? Like people sometimes miss out some details on there.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. I'm a big fan of value-driven businesses. So we want to drive value. When they see you professional, it got the professional truck. That for me, and I'll give them a book. I don't give them a business card. I give them a book I've written. I give them pictures of our work and stuff like that in a nice coffee table edition. I'll give them that. Who else is doing that? That'd be nobody. You're giving them their own beautiful coffee table edition of all the work you've done, and now you're going to do theirs. In their mind, they're going, I want to be in the book. Are you going to put mine in the book? Is mine going to be good enough to be in the book? You know what I mean? So it's a really good icebreaker, if you will. I do it now with Escape the Owner Prison. I introduce, here's a book. I give them a book, not a business. And they got a book. Okay, it works. That's a promotional item. That's worth whatever it cost me. To give them instead of a business. A business card is just going to go in the laundry, be crumpled up by tomorrow. Okay, and they're going to throw it away and never know you. But the book, that's a thing, right? So we want to make sure that we understand that when we're doing these promotional things. It comes in all these different shapes and sizes, right?
Yeah. Let's speak about what not to buy. Like people, when they call me, they say, what should I buy? But can we talk about what not to buy?
Let's talk about that, because I need that kind of help.
I would say to something that is irrelevant to what you stand for. We talk about all that, you have your value. Richard, everyone have the mission, right? There's something that you stand for, and something that I'm not going to do that even if you pay me. So can you actually tell that story with your promotional product? So I didn't come up with this line, but I read it somewhere online, and I really like that quote. A perfect promotional product is a silent ambassador for what you are. It speaks volume about who you are and what you stand for. For example, if let's say our company is eco-friendly, so you got to find eco-friendly product that represent your brand. Or if you say, my brand is all about luxury and premium, so your gift has to be in line with what you're preaching. You can't. A lot of times, I don't want to say bad things about pen, but I will have eco-friendly client, premium client, innovative client, whatever that you are, you end up giving a pen. It works if you tell the right story, but not everyone needs to buy a pen, although it's like the most popular item in our industry.
Yeah, I get it, but it seems so low end, like a pen. Oh yeah, I got a good deal on 500 of them. I don't feel special when you've pulled me out of a box with 30 others and hand me a pen. Okay. So I never liked the pens. Okay. Now I probably have some here with someone else's logo on it. Don't know what it is. I don't read it. I don't see it, but I'm just saying you're exactly right. You have to match it to your value structure. Who you are, what you are. Again, high end. If people were, spending $100,000, $200,000 with me, I can't give them a pen. I just can't give unless it's a Mont Blanc. Okay. If I'm giving him a $400 pen, okay. If that's that guy, he's a business guy, he wears a suit all the time. I see him going to work. Get him the Mont Blanc. Okay. Now he's got a $400 pen. That's the only pen I want to give him. And I don't have to have my name on it, because he'll know every time he takes that pen out, he's going to think of me.
Yeah. People knows.
Because that's a magnificent pen. Okay, so I love this point, Swire. This is really good, because I think that alignment with who you are, who your customers are, it's a two-way street. You're trying to get the right fit for them, but it also has to represent you properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the pen example, right? So when they see that item 2 years later, would they remember the story, or would they remember the experience? If that reminds them of the experience, that's your gift, because really, like, the number one most question that I get asked with, what should I buy? We have over 5,000 items on our site. So depending on who you are, going through all the questions, you can actually pick the right gift yourself. You don't need me by knowing who your clients are, what they like, what kind of industry you're in, what do they expect of your brand. You can actually filter down pretty quickly yourself instead of using like the maybe sort by price item or things like that. But a lot of times, sometimes people don't want to think about those type of questions when I communicate with them. So I think that's the challenge.
It's almost like you need to be able to get into a category first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, I'm income level. Here's what they are. Okay. Here's what I sold them. How much was the product you sold them? And I'm just trying to give simple ideas, whether that's the right thing or not. But look like, okay, well, they bought a $10,000 product from me. Way different than someone who bought a $75 product from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 75, maybe I give them a pen. Okay. But the 10,000, I'm going to give them something else. Right? So I think you got to categorize this stuff, and that narrows it down. Because again, you look at 5,000 products, I'm just, I'm lost. Don't even know where to begin. So I have to get to a category, break it down in a couple, 2 or 3 categories, and then get the search going from there, so you understand those levels. Do you do that with your site or anything like that?
I do that for myself, actually. Every year I looked at my accounting software. So I point out who my top 20 clients are. Like they spend the most money with me that year. So these are my VIP. I also have the next category where they have at least 2 to 3 times repeat business. So I know that they somewhat trust me, right? They keep coming back. And then I have my lower tier list where they purchase from me, but they work for a big company. I might be able to get more jobs. So I like your approach, and it is the right way to do it. Is there different tiers? Your VIP, who spend the most money with you, should get the best gift, and then so forth and so on, depending on the budget, right? If you only have limited budget, I would say pick your top 10, spend all the money with the top 10, and that's it. So a lot of times people think we have a logo, we have this budget, everyone should have our logo. Like we all love our company or the company that we work for, but not others, right? Really, except if you are maybe a football team or maybe, some kind of organization, churches, right? Most people don't care about your logo. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I did this thing and I learned this from another guy, but in the roofing industry, you go and a big hailstorm comes, right? So everybody's knocking on doors and you're trying to get all the roofs, right, to replace them. Well, he came up with this really awesome, he called it 10 to win. And when you get a job, you're talking to someone and say, okay, hey, I've got this little referral card here. It's got 10 slots on it. All right. Each number has a gift attached to it. So if you write down, give me a name and a phone number and make the first call, the introduction, each one I have a gift at each level. And you get to choose what gift you want on here, 1 through 10. So 1 is like a dinner for 2. Okay. Somewhere. Number 10, weekend in Vegas.
Wow.
Okay. Number 6 is a MacBook Pro. Okay, so you're getting that, right? So great. So they go, ooh, I'd like that. So they pick 6. Okay, now you have a year to get me. I have to be able to close 6 deals, right? So give me 6 to start, whatever, great. I'll call them. I'll go do the deal, right? But they're referred from you. It can be really powerful because now 8 months goes by. I can look at it and call them up and say, oh, Mrs. Jones, you're only 1 away. You're 1 away from that MacBook Pro. Okay, do you know anyone else? Someone at church maybe, someone you work with, like who might still need the roof done, whatever. Yeah, I think I know some. Okay, and they write it down. They go get it. Bam, they get their gift, right? Now, if the end of the year comes and they've only got 5 instead of 6, I give them the number 5 gift. Okay, because they did 5, right? So they still win something. But when they do hit that 6, I don't have to put my logo on the MacBook Pro. They know every time they open that thing up, and it's me. Thanks to me, okay? Thanks to them doing the referrals, but I had this offer, and it's way more incentive for them to actually help you get those referrals and close those deals.
I think while you're giving an example, I think like the best referral program that, the client actually came up with the idea. He's a real estate agent, similar idea. So every time that he closes a property, the buyer, they move in their house, they use a professional photographer. They take a picture of the house professionally. They actually send them 6 bottles of wines with the label printed with the new home.
Nice.
No mention of that agent. The new home, thank you, and then send it to them. So what happened to the agent is when they have housewarming party, the new neighbors will come, and then old neighbors from the old neighborhood will also come. And then they break the bottle of wine. Guess who they will talk about? So why I know it works? Because the amount of wine that he ordered from me
Right.
It's constant, right? I see
Yeah.
different property, different wines, and I think that's a really good way. Like, how can you use that promotional product to have people start talking about you? So that's another way to do the mental exercise. If you come to me, say, this is what I want, why I want people to talk about me. I'm in this industry. These are the people that usually deal with me. Then you narrow your funnel pretty quickly. Then if you come to me, hey, Swire, I have a logo. What can you do?
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm with you. It's remember to me, and it's thoughtfulness. Okay, that's what that really is. You're just thoughtful about the gift, and that's what touches people. Like I said, a pen is not, again, unless it's a Mont Blanc, it's just not a thoughtful gift. It's a piece of promotional material that'll be left on the table, be dropped on the ground, won't get picked up. I mean, got to understand what someone's going to do with what you give them. The wine's a great example. Are they going to toss that over on the couch? No, that's going to be in the wine rack, right? It's going to be there. They're going to drink it. They're going to look at it. They're going to entertain with it. They're going to use that kind of stuff. They'll probably even save it because it's so cool. Mm-hmm. They'll probably even save the bottle with the labels on it. So they won't get rid of the bottle. They'll keep it, at least one. I did that. I drank a 82 Chateau Margaux or something. It's like, okay, well, that's, or a Bordeaux. I'm like, I keep the bottle, because it's like a $1,200 bottle. Okay, and I don't drink those a lot, so I'll just save the bottle. So just take that kind of philosophy and go, okay, this is what it's really about. So I think what we're really talking about here, Swire, is it is thoughtfulness. It's a very direct, very individual gift, if you will, right? It really needs to be tailored to theirs. It's all about them, not about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's completely true.
Right.
And also about the storytelling too. I know storytelling has been a hot keyword, right? You see it all everywhere. Can that promotional product help you with your storytelling? Maybe you're secure, you are, trustworthy. Can that item help you play along if you are athletic or if you are mindfulness, whatever that your value might be? If you pick the right item, you can actually enhance you just so much better.
And like you're saying, if you have a story, like a reason why you chose that gift. There I was out, we were camping for 3 days, came out of the woods, wanted to have a decent meal because I can't cook on a fire. So we went to this high-end restaurant, did this, had this wine. This wine was so unbelievable that I thought, you know what? I need to share this with my clients. So I bought 3 cases of it, and I wanted to give this to you. That kind of story thing, right? Like put something together so they have, wow, then he was camping, then having dinner and thinking of me, his clients. So it's like, and actually as entrepreneurs, that's what we do. It's kind of a curse, kind of they're always on our mind, but then you bring something like that, or you private label that great wine, like you said, get that private label on there and then give them to them. Oh, you're getting invited over for Christmas. You know what I mean? Because you're so thoughtful, and it's just awesome. And I did that with a client. It was really unique because he would do the same thing for me. Hey, come over. We're going to have a cigar and some cognac. Come over on Christmas Eve, because I built this water feature. We did some stuff, and he was always giving to me. I'm trying to outgive him. He's giving back to me, and we're trying to just take care of each other because we kind of had the same mindset. But it was a real learning experience, because you're getting welcomed into their home. And we're doing these things, we're having this. And I took that to start learning, like, okay, I really have to think more about my clients. Mm-hmm. Not in the sense that I'm building this beautiful thing for them and they're going to pay me, but really you got to get a little deeper. Now, I don't need to become their best friend and all that kind of move in. I'm not trying to do that. But I think the big takeaway here, Swire, is really creating a relationship where you can get real detail on habits, lifestyle, sports. Do they work out? What is it? What's triggering them? What do you see on their cars? What does their license plate holder say? What are they into? Right? Maybe they're into nothing. I have no idea. Maybe they're into shooting. And I buy them 1,000 rounds of ammo for their 9mm. Like, dude, you shoot a lot here, and you give them this big 1,000 rounds of ammo. That's a gift. Okay, hey, I just dropped, $400 on you. Here's the ammo. Now, I don't have my logo on here, but every time you pull that trigger, think of me in a good way.
Well, so Richard, you do know what to buy. It's just like with all the example that you just mentioned, because you're right. In the prospecting phase, when they becoming customer during the process, like we're performing services, and afterwards, they always do that. What if, again, going back to the holiday, we all know where the holidays are. And for example, you're sending holiday gift to your client. So that's your pattern. Why not send it earlier? Because the reason to do that is when people like to save money, right? Let's talk about money saving. People like to save money, right? How can I get it cheaper? Sometimes they ask me. I will tell them you buy in bulk and you buy off season. So if you buy calendar right now for 2026, it's a big discount because no one prints calendar right now.
Right.
But if you buy holiday gift, when you buy ornaments, around November, December, crazy pricing. But if you do it now, it's actually half the cost. And if you have the planning, you know that the holiday also happens the same year. Why not plan for your marketing calendar? Because when you do like social media, when you do digital marketing, you plan for it. You don't just, jump on the computer, post something on it. There's planning involved. Why not incorporate promotional product? If you want to use it in your marketing plan, it's cheaper. You don't have to pay for the crazy rush fee. Sometimes people call me 2 days before the event. They want to buy something. Yes, you can buy something, but it'll be more expensive than if we talk about it. You have more options. You can customize things a little bit more, and then you get your savings because, we have more time to work on things. So think about it like that, develop a plan for the campaign.
That's really smart. Okay. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to go in like October and try to buy it's 2025 now. If I go October 2025 and try to get a calendar, they don't exist. Okay, you can get 2026, but you can't find it. You can't. So if you lose your calendar and you got to have one, you're out of luck. You're just going to be digital. That's the only thing you're going to get. You can't go buy a physical calendar. So I love that. I love that idea because you should be, in a perfect world, planning all this marketing, right?
Yeah,
we know. And another great thing you said was they come every year. This isn't a surprise, okay? Yeah. This isn't a new job, a new customer. This is the holiday. What do you give? What represents you? Like in general, and then again, you can even add on later a specific. But I really like that. I really, really like that thought process because you can, again, depending on your customer volume, you can go through a lot of promotional products, right? I mean, you're talking, and if you can save half, that's a big number. You could be saving thousands of dollars every year because you're ordering a year in advance. That's powerful. That's really good to know.
Yeah, people do plan for it because, for example, if they're gearing up, for example, like the holiday, usually a big season in sales, or maybe the summer, or maybe a particular anniversary, or maybe something happened that they need your product and services. I'm sure that, if you have a sales team, you already are training people gearing up for that sales season. It's a big season, right? It's a season. If you are, a log cabin, right, in the mountains, then winter and summer are probably your top season. And that. Why not while you're planning for it, you can plan for digital marketing. You can plan for your in-person, maybe your sales call. And also if you planning to give, that's when the time to think about what's new for this year. So can you introduce and create the curiosity for people to visit you again, or maybe you are trying to get a foot into the door for homeowner in a new zip code, for example. Can you send and mail them gifts that will spark their interest to call you? Then you can actually track. People always say you can't track your ROI on promotional product. I can only do it with Google Ads or ads. You can actually do that now with promotional product. So think about how many calls you receive. Maybe you do mention a code, right? When they call you, if you mention this code, you get a special something. So you tie in with your campaign so you can actually track the result and the effectiveness for the promotional product.
Yeah, or QR codes, same thing. If you want to go online and buy, I have a really good example today, just an hour ago. Okay, I go to the post office to mail some packages for my wife, and the woman behind the counter, she goes, "Do you need any stamps? Because they're going up to 78 cents in July." So they're they're the forever stamps. So if you get them now, they're good. They're not affected with a price hike. But there she is, like early selling. Okay, it's May, right? We're going right into May. She's selling, hey, they're going up in July, so get your stamps now. I'm like, you don't usually see the postal people thinking sales. Okay, so it's good to hear them like just suggest that. But to your point, this stuff's going to happen, right? And secondly on that, I was just thinking of what you said, like, well, first, if you don't know, Procter & Gamble, right? The big company, product company, they only do product. They only do samples now. They don't do coupons. They stopped doing coupons altogether because the samples, that little box of laundry soap, that little tube of toothpaste, whatever, that's what's killing it. Because people literally use it. Okay, they don't have a coupon where they go get 50 cents off or whatever. They get an actual product they can put in the washing machine and use, put it on their teeth and use, which is huge in the recurring, right? Now they start buying the product because it was good, right? So that's another thing to think about. So what it made me think of was that when I go do an estimate, anyone goes and does an estimate, you greet them with a gift, right? That's the beginning gift, right? It's a lower level gift, right? But it's a good gift, it's not a pen. Okay. It's just, you're going to give them a good gift as a welcome. That warms them up. And then whatever the rest of the process is, you get the job, maybe that final gift is that amazing thing. Again, depending on the match with the client, and maybe there's something even in the middle, depending on how long a job takes. So, and we're not here to like, hey, so Swire he needs 10 million orders by tomorrow or something, but I'm just saying if you want to think about effective marketing, because a lot of marketing that a lot of business owners do, I was in the same group, is ineffective. Okay, it just isn't effective. When you put something in someone's hand, just like a box of laundry soap, okay, if you give them something they can actually use, right, that makes a difference, okay, because they're going to repeat to you, they're going to see it again, they're going to think of you. Again, you want to get that front of mind. Now they're on your list, okay, they love that. You're continue to market to them. Like we said, whether they're cards or other gifts throughout the year, this is a marketing plan. Using promotional items. I really like it. I think there's all these different steps inside there of valued products, right? Depending on what you're sending for. It's not like you got to give them, bars of gold every time you send them to them, but like we need to know, like, it's that matter of staying at front of mind with that kind of stuff. Everyone loves to open a gift.
Yeah.
So always open a box.
To your point, like the best gift, if you are in the prospecting phase, can your gift be a taste of the actual experience? Think about that. Like you talk about sample, when I go to Costco, when they have sampling, I end up buying more things. So maybe as simple as if you're in the travel industry, beautiful pictures, or maybe a certain material for your bed sheets. Maybe you're known for your comfortable bed sheets. Can they become a promotional product? Can they feel it? Or when we go to buy a car, they let you test drive the car so you could pretend that you own the car, right? With all the bells and whistles. If you can find a gift that could give them a taste and they want it more, then you get them hooked in the prospecting phase.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, we always want to be customer centric, right? And people hear that term and they kind of get it and they do it, but I don't think people do it well. Because when I talk to them, Swire, and I'll hear their messaging, say on a website or an ad, I'm like, who are you talking to? You can't be talking to your client, your potential client. This has nothing to do with them at all. This is about you. Okay? No one cares about you. Okay? They care about their problems. We want to fix it. We're there to solve their problem. So talk about their problem and then talk about the incredible outcome they're going to have when you fix their problem. You don't have to tell them how you do it. Just know their problem, tell them what happens after you fix it, and do that. But so many people don't understand that. That's why this podcast today with you, Swires, I thought it'd be so important, because I want to help people shift their mindset to get into why you're giving a gift, right? It's way beyond, like you said, your logo. It has nothing to do with that, actually. It has nothing to do with your logo. I get it can be on there as a brand. It's really about building your brand. Wouldn't you agree? It's more of a brand thing than it is a logo or even a marketing thing. Almost put it into a brand building.
Yeah, you touched on a really good point. You should determine what your goals are, just like any marketing plan or sales plan or business plan, right? So you got to know where the end point you want to be, because if you come to me, you want to buy things, obviously, you know what my answer will be. But the question that I really want to try to help my customer, because if I know that if they get a good result, they will come back for more. If they do a campaign, they give them the results that they're looking for, they'll do more campaigns. So I'm trying to be more helpful, but really you have to set a goal and let me know, what do you want to do? Are you trying to be more brand awareness, or are you trying to do employees morale, or are you just trying to going to a specific zip code. I want everyone to know about me in this zip code. There are different strategies, different tools that we could use. But I think a lot of time people don't want to miss out a certain market. HVAC guy, everyone have an AC needs me. Yes, but they're also where you're located, what kind of machines, a lot of things that you can answer. They're afraid to go into a niche. But even, when I tell you, if I don't have the budget, I go with my top 10, I really do just focus on the top 10. My budget is not allowing me to do the things that I want to do. Focus on people who give you the most business. Look at your accounting software. Who order from you the most, or what are the type of people who order with you the most in the past year? Can you find people who are similar to those people? Maybe you don't have any repeat business. You do it once and probably for a lifetime or 20 years, right? Looking for people who are similar to your top 10 client, people who are raving about your service, people who tell 10 other people about what you've done. Can you clone these people? So those will be your target audience and not everyone else.
Exactly. It's ICP, or ideal client profile. Who are they? And a simple exercise I do with my clients, Swire, is I tell them, tell me your favorite client. Just tell me who they were. And they'll tell you right away. It was Mrs. Jones down here at whatever, 1665 Maple Street. Okay. I go, well, how come? Well, she did this and this, and they paid us right on time. She loved us, brought stuff out to my guys for lunch and did this and just absolutely loved what we did and told 5 people within a week. Okay. Let's serve Mrs. Jones 100x. Let's get 100 more Mrs. Jones. Like, what else do you know about her? Where does she live? What's the median household income? What do they drive? How many kids does she have, right? Where does she shop? Figure all this stuff out and go look for those clients, because you're better off spending a little extra time doing that and having the exact right people you want to work with, because they're also going to pay what you want to charge. Okay, that's another element of it, right? And you also will know the kind of gifts to give them, right? They're going to fit in your ideal client profile. If you have that, you know how to serve them, when to give them gifts, how to give them gifts, what kind of gifts, right? How to talk to them, how to communicate with them, so we take it through that whole thing. So this is a really good, it's a really good thing to think about, because marketing can be complicated, but the basic, I'm a big face-to-face. Okay, I think that's an element a lot of people have gotten away from in the last 5-6 years. But that being with someone, handing them a gift, right, is powerful. It's a really, really powerful thing. You're there, you're working on their property, you're in their home. Like, if you ever go to someone's house, someone invites you over for dinner, do you go empty-handed?
No.
You're not one of those people, are you? Okay,
No.
I didn't think so. Okay, you go with something, a bottle of wine, a potato salad, I don't know. You go bring something. You don't go there empty-handed. Okay, why is this any different? I mean, your friends are giving you dinner, but they're not paying you $100,000 to fix something. I think the guy paying $100,000 is worth a nice gift. You know what I mean? So I just kind of think about it that way. And I think this has been so good to hit on all these points, Swire, because we covered a lot if you think promotional materials, I don't think you think about everything we just talked about.
Most people don't. So when I ask them the question, like you just mentioned the perfect point, right? With the ICP, your customer profile. If you know that and you have written down all the elements about who they are, it saves you a lot of money. So if you know where they're going to hang out, what kind of magazine they're going to read, or are they going to be on social media, or are they only going to be at the soccer game? So you know exactly where you want to be. So you actually filter out things that you don't need, and you answer all the questions. And do I need to be on 10 platforms at the same time? Do I need to buy them 10 different gifts at the same time? You can actually answer all the questions, becomes different marketing. Because if you want to spend money, marketers are happy to take it from you.
Amen.
But if you are focused, but I think it takes discipline, right? We don't want to miss out. Like we want everybody, but in reality, you can't help everybody.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't want you. Okay, you want everybody, everybody doesn't want you, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. There's a lot of people I want nothing to do with. Okay, they are not my ideal clients. I've been in business over 35 years. I've seen pretty much everything, and I can every day help a client who not to work with. They'll start telling me this, first I go, don't do anything for them.
Well, you get happier too if you deal with people
Right.
who you enjoy working with, they enjoy working with you, you're much happier. I'm sure that you have a client that you just hate, you don't want to work with them. They're paying you,
Right.
but you just struggle to
Yeah.
perform
Yep.
every day. But rather, if there's a way that you could work with people who appreciate you, pay you on time, pay your full price, why not have more of those clients?
And when you give them those gifts, you're a cheerful giver, as the Bible says. God loves a cheerful giver. So let's be a cheerful giver. You know, I really like the people. I love to give them this. Matter of fact, I got an extra one. I'm going to give them 2. They got 4 kids. I bet their kids like one of these. I'll give them a couple of them. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the level you want to operate at, right? So I think just to kind of wrap all this up in a bow with a bow here, from a promotional aspect, you can see the web, if you will, how it connects to almost everything you do in marketing. Okay. And I think you really have to think about it. I mean, digital products are really cool. You get this content, you get this. Again, with a lot of my listeners, again, we're hands-on people, right? We're working in people's homes. We're around their stuff, right? We're in contact with people. You know, we're not building a business online, so to speak, right? We might get traffic from that and a little bit. We're going to their physical locations. That's why I think this conversation is so important. You know, so I want you guys listening to really get some of these great takeaways from this, because you can apply most of the stuff we talked about in your business, and it will make a difference, because there's no better lead than a referral. A referral from a happy customer, unless you're just a complete goof, it should be a layup for you. Okay. You should be able to get that closer to exactly what you did for your other client. You know, just because it's a referral, you still treat them just as well, but you should just have a steady stream. And that's one stream, but it's a good one where you can be at a very high close rate for those kind of referrals. And this kind of stuff is what's going to get you those referrals. And so it'll be worth, you know, the ROI will be magnificent, right? It really will. Whatever you're spending on the gifts for that particular clients, that's going to be an incredible ROI, because one referral will cover a year of your marketing, you know, a lot of times. So it's a good thing.
I'll pick referrals over cold call any day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So any final words, Swire, kind of wrap all this up?
I really enjoyed the conversation, Richard. I think if the listener can really go through the exercise, we talk about different aspects of reaching out to a client, building the relationship, how we can nudge them for more referral. But if you wanted to spend not only for promotional product, for any marketing plan, pick one. If you're trying to go everywhere at the same time, you end up not getting the result that you want. Don't be afraid to try something small first. If it works, good, then you build onto it. If it doesn't work, it's just something small. So I think a lot of time people try to go too big, right? Even if we talk about some of the biggest company, they know exactly who to target. You won't see a McDonald's put in a luxury neighborhood. You know, you see them on the freeway because they know you'll be hungry when you're driving. And a lot of listen and look out for what the big brands are doing. Think about who their target audience are. If you actually can answer all the questions, because when you call me, I'm going to ask you those questions. Who are your ideal client? Why are you buying it for? Like who would like to receive this gift? You know, yes, I'm asking more questions than what normally people would ask you. But if you can actually help me with those questions, you yourself can actually find the perfect gifts that you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's important because once you get them, you just keep getting them. You know, you figure it out. That's just another thing we figure out in business, you know, again, how to do it. I had one client, just to wrap this up, does a lot of high-end remodels, okay, kitchens, baths. Well, you start getting architects who are referring you. Well, now you got to take care of the architect, right? So what am I going to give an architect? Okay, so he's doing a gift basket with this, that kind of stuff. But it's those kind of things, right? Now there's a professional giving another professional work. You know, maybe my HVAC guy is referring a framer because he knows him and stuff. So okay, B2B right there. Like you're getting those. If you're a framer, I'm an HVAC guy, and I send you $80,000 worth of work, you might want to give me a gift. Okay, just saying. Okay, so you might don't think just because you're both in the trades like they don't deserve something. Like you take care of them. Okay, they're sending you work. That's a relationship. You know, you got to nurture that stuff and keep it going. So that's awesome. So Swire, how do people get a hold of you? Give us your website and whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, if you wanted to find out more about promotional product, you could go to our website at garudapromo.com. And Richard, I'm going to send you a backlink with a link to book me for a free 30-minute consultation. So we are going to go through all the questions there that we just talked about. So I think this podcast episode is really helpful. And really, I do wanted to try to ask you the right question because you are the expert of your industry. I know the general approach for finding the gift for a certain audience, but you know your client the best. And if you don't know, you're missing out.
Yeah, and you better find out. You better figure it out, because if you're struggling, it's because you don't know who you truly want to serve, and that makes a difference. So I'll put that stuff in the show notes for everybody. If you can do it, book the call with Swire, go through this stuff. Again, begin small. If that's the way you want to do it, figure it out. Get that one thing. Begin with one. You don't have to do 9 holidays to begin with. Do one thank you gift. What would a great thank you gift, or an intro and a thank you gift, whatever that might be. I'm just saying, again, maybe listen to the episode again. There you go. Listen to it again and take notes this time. Okay, because we dropped a lot of great stuff. And Swire, I appreciate your time today. This has been great. I knew it would be. And I appreciate you. And for everyone else, until the next STS podcast, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
And don't forget, revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. So if you want to see how I can show you at least $100,000 in hidden annual profits in less than 3 minutes, and not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend, guaranteed, just go to sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. See how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. Do it now.